Stupid science. Stupid science.
Science. Pew, pew, pew.
Welcome to episode 30 of Stupid Science with JD and Lisa.
Glad to be here. It's a great day. We got a lot of craziness to talk about.
Episode 30.
In your ears.
Well, speaking of people getting crazy, first story, Peter Dusick, age 29 of Brevard County, which is outside of Orlando.
Yep.
For those of you listening
Brevard.
abroad.
Mm-hmm. We're southern here. I'm southern here, so that's called Brevard. I'm sure it actually probably was initially Brevard, the northerner that moved here and named it.
I thought Brevard. You're saying it's
Brevard.
Brevard, that's what they call it?
Yep,
Brevard County.
sure do.
Brevard County, near Orlando.
Yep.
Mr. Peter Dusick, age 29, was arrested Friday.
Of course he was.
Because, and this is.
I want to do a drum roll because...
This is a good story. I was tempted to say this is a real Southern thing, but this is a thing that we did in my neighborhood growing up. But of course we were teenagers then, and Mr. Brevard here, or Mr. Dusick here is age 29.
Yeah, he's creeping into middle age.
He's got a business of his own doing landscaping, right?
Oh, legitimate businessman, sir.
He's got a landscaping business, and a customer owes him $20. And has not paid him his $20.
Unpaid invoice. I get it.
So he's trying to get his $20 out of this guy over in Merritt Island. And he shows up to get it, and the guy doesn't have it for him. His mother, whose house he lives in, has told him that he's home, but he's just not available. Right? It's $20. $20. He's so mad about the $20 that as he leaves, he puts something in the mailbox, then drives off, and then the mailbox explodes. And it explodes so...
Kaboom!
Kaboom, and the explosion is so loud, shrapnel flew 50 feet.
I'm sorry, did you use the term shrapnel?
Shrapnel, because that's all that was left of the mailbox. Flew 50 feet. There was a sign, like a stop sign or whatever, some sort of road sign nearby. It got damaged. It got bent. From the force of the explosion.
That force. You bent the man sign? Oh, you have effed up.
It is.
There's so much nonsense to that. You blew somebody up. Blew up their mailbox.
He blew up the mailbox over $20. It probably cost him more than $20 just to get the explosives.
Nowadays, he spent $22 in gas to go get that 20. And the mom did the opposite. The mom knew what she was doing because her adult son has done it to her in the past.
Right.
There was a time in the 80s where she told her son, "That's a debt collector at the door. You tell him I'm not home." And the kid went to the door. Mom says she's not home.
Right.
And she was like, finally, revenge. I bet he does good work, though. He keeps them edges tight.
And by the way, they know that he did all of this because it's on surveillance footage from the place across the street.
Okay. Enough is enough. We got to get t-shirts. I'm sick. I'm fucking sick and tired of telling these people our commandments. Thou shalt not record or in parentheses, be recorded committing your crime. We've told you this.
You gotta stay off camera while you're doing that.
Thou shalt not. You didn't see those cameras when you were doing that lawn work? Of course he did.
Oh, my God.
Of course he did.
What else we got? Oh, Treasure Island, Florida.
Lovely there.
Yeah, Mr. Gary Bush of Treasure Island.
Okay.
He decided he was going to leave a little treasure of his own behind when he...
the balloons?
He apparently walked, 69 years old. 69, dude.
69. Nice.
Walked into the surf style shop, pulls down his pants, and took a shit in the middle of the store. And then took one of the shirts that they sell off the rack and used it as toilet paper to wipe his ass.
Let him. You know what? Let him. I know the local cops here. They don't want to deal with it. Go ahead and let him take a shirt. Take two. Before the cops have to bring you into custody. One of our nice touristy shirts.
They arrested.
I went to Treasure Island, took a shit, and all I got was this shirt.
They charged him with criminal mischief and exposure of sexual organs. But not defecating in public, apparently. Apparently that's not a crime in Treasure Island.
Lord, yeah.
So, yeah,
no,
Mr. Bush,
it's not a crime. It did not occur to us to make it a specific crime in Treasure Island. Until today, sir. Thank you, 2022. He took a shit.
Where else we go? We go to Long Island, New York.
Another island name.
Yeah, for...
should I say it's
true?
Should I say it's beautiful there?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, Long Island woman. She goes to JFK to get on a plane.
Okay, I don't recommend it, but okay.
Finds herself in some hot water because she's got 400 rounds of ammo in her...
Impossible.
In her luggage.
Impossible. I'm going to need to check this because that bitch over there won't let me put it under my seat. 12 gauge, 308s, 223s, 9 millimeters, all packed into 9 boxes, as well as shotgun shells and handgun shells, according to TSA. Acme dynamite that's got TNT on the side. Yeah, she's got it all.
When questioned as to why she had all this ammo...
Excellent question.
She apparently told the security that she must have grabbed the wrong bag. That was her son's ammo bag. And it was oof.
Do you know how much worse that is, what you just said? For 4 reasons. This isn't my lingerie? Yeah, that's one thing. No, you didn't mistake it. 2, you know we got to talk to your son. 3, you just knocked on your son. 4, your son is somewhere thinking he's going to do some range shooting, and he's got your undies.
He's got your he reaches into the bag and pulls out. Oh,
no.
How you going to load that?
Oh, thongs.
He's gonna have trouble living that down.
So she went the route of ditzy. Oh, oh my.
Oh, I don't know what happened, officer.
This isn't my lipstick.
How did that bomb get in my bag?
400 rounds.
400 rounds of ammunition in her bag.
That's too many.
For a variety of weapons. No guns, though, so she's getting fined. So, yeah, she wasn't black.
Somebody's still in jail for weed. That's great, though.
Yeah.
Long Island. JFK. I'm glad they caught it. I've heard some stuff about JFK. It's a chance that might have just gone right on through.
We're going to skip over to Japan, another island.
That's how you get there. You skip.
Story. Yes, we're going to skip over to Japan for this next story.
It's not a long, exhausting flight. You just skip on over.
Skip on over.
Domo arigato.
So in their country, just like here in America, we were giving out COVID funds to businesses and individuals to try to help get through. They did the same thing in Japan.
Yep.
Well,
$1,200 every 8 months.
And just like here in this country, some of that money accidentally got misapplied. We'll go with that. We'll call it accidentally misapplied.
You think the man listened to this? Go ahead and say it. They did some stuff that was not right.
Well, apparently, one distribution of currency, which was supposed to go to a municipality, a town in Japan,
prefecture,
accidentally got put into the bank account of a 24-year-old individual man named Sho Taguchi.
Oh.
And then he went and in 10 days gambled away the equivalent of $360,000 worth of money, which is 46 million yen.
It's his.
To the point where he only had $530 left. The equivalent of $530 left.
Of course he was in his 20s. Do you know how proud of him his inflatable wife was? Oh, man. That is awesome.
It was supposed to be distributed.
Sailor Moon underwear he bought?
463 households in a city were supposed to get the equivalent of $780 each, which is 100,000 yen. His name was first on the list, and they just gave him all of the money.
This transfer was much easier than I thought it was going to be.
I thought I had 8 hours of work.
I'm going home early. People complain about work, and they shouldn't. It's easy.
And then he got the money, and he was like, all right, sounds good to me.
Should I call someone?
Why? No, it's money. It's my money. Should I?
As a mistake
should I buy a house? No, I'm going gambling.
And just kept losing it, Well, good going, governments.
all around, good job. Yeah, all around, good job. That was everybody.
Don't pat yourself on your own back.
There are no heroes in that story.
Yeah.
In other stupid government news,
everybody but Finland and New Zealand seem to be fucked. Any hoozles.
In other stupid government news, back here in America.
Oh, you know I love that.
This one is actually kind of interesting, even though it's well, you'll see. All right, so this story goes back to 2017.
Okay, there's a history to this.
This is actually an interesting kind of winding story. There's a father-son pair of treasure hunters who believe they have figured out where in Pennsylvania is this Civil War era gold that apparently was stolen and from the U.S. government.
That's a great story.
And buried in Pennsylvania. And they think they have figured out where it is. They get the FBI to come with them, and they go, and they map it out. They have mapped it out. They think they know where it is. And they go, and the FBI does this dig.
Yeah.
Brings them back later, and is like, look. They actually brought them back to the hole and bring them to the hole, and they're like, look what's here. And there's nothing there. And they take the time to embarrass them and say, look, there's nothing here. It's like what's his name? When what's his name opened up Al Pacino's grave.
They should have done that. Yeah,
not Al Pacino. It's Al Capone's.
There's a lot to this story. I don't know, listeners. You heard it here first.
So
yeah, Geraldo. So they
Algernon.
weren't there when the government was digging for money.
Well, I mean, you got to figure it took a while to dig. This is a big old hole in the middle of Pennsylvania, and they did spend some time excavating this big area. They bring them back when they're done. They're like, look, there's nothing here.
Let's shame them because government.
So
let's spend some agent time and money to shame
these
them.
These guys, father-son team, they're embarrassed by all this, but then they're thinking about it, and the people are telling them there's convoys of vehicles going through. There's late-night stuff happening.
My question.
So they start filing FOI requests and whatnot for all those documents and paperwork. They eventually get them, and they start saying, well, there's this, that, and now they're finding that there were tests performed on the site that showed gold beneath the ground, and that's why they dug where they dug.
Yeah.
And all this.
That sounds right.
So it seems like the FBI stole these guys, not just their gold, but also their fame for having done the research work and found this rare treasure.
How could you, government?
And the question is, did the FBI take it for did the FBI agency did the agency take it for the government, or did these agents take it for themselves?
B.
But there's a lot of paper filed with the government, so it seems like it might be A.
We ain't find nothing.
But this is in Dense Run.
It was all lead.
This is in Dense Run, which is
how far is this from where you grew up?
This is on the other side of the state, just northeast of Pittsburgh.
I feel like my co-host has something to do with taking that Civil War gold.
An 1863 shipment of Union gold was either lost or stolen on its way to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And
it's in some dude's house. Occam's razor on it.
They had to sue the Justice Department in order to get the records. So it looks like the FBI stole their gold.
Father and son. Yeah, stole
their livelihood. They stole their whole life.
Your feds, you almost got away with it if it wasn't for this meddling father and kids, father and son.
Now, our final story for this segment.
Stupid.
Dumb government. This is a recurring. This is another recurring theme in our stupid government stories. This is up in Tampa, of St. Petersburg, nice. Tampa area. A 100-year-old Tampa Bay woman has to prove that she's alive in order to get, because they stopped sending her checks.
Again.
Yeah, this is not the first time this has happened.
Anywhere.
Within the United States. Betty Ashley.
Happened in France as well.
She's been in headlines because she walks the Gasparilla 5000 in her 90s.
Oh, nice.
She served as Grand Marshal this year at age 100. She's the Grand Marshal of a parade at age 100.
A private parade. I love Gasparilla.
And then they just all of a sudden the federal government stopped sending her checks. And when they contacted the OPM, the Office of Personal Management that disperses these checks.
Yeah.
Because her husband...
Old people management, sir.
Her late husband served as a U.S. postmaster. There's regional postmasters, and then there's the postmaster general for the whole country. But he was apparently a regional postmaster. After she and her daughter go looking into this, after 6 months of the payments missing, someone at OPM said, this is a quote, "My goodness, she's 100 years old. Why would we think she's still alive?" Who told you that was your job?
Cut off the money.
They sent a notarized form to OPM with a picture and holding up a current newspaper like a hostage thing.
We are.
And that was not enough to unlock her payments, apparently. She's going to be 101 in June.
Maybe.
Or, yeah.
If she has money to live. God damn it. What do you got to do?
Okay, and then they told her at one point, they sent her an email saying she was going to get all of her money by May 13th, but that has passed, obviously. And she has still not received her money. And she's got a federal tax payment too. They're not going to... But no, she doesn't because she's dead.
Yeah.
She doesn't owe them any money.
Yeah.
How can
One
she owe
of you
them
is
money?
right.
Yeah, either
Pick
I'm dead or
one.
I'm not. I can't owe you money and not get money.
All right.
You kind of decide.
Pick one, not both. Wow, lady, that's...
And the payments are up. She said the payments increased. they cut off her money and increased her payments. The son of a bitch, that is so messed up. It's so messed up. That is the U.S. federal government in a nutshell.
There we go.
Right now. That is the situation across America right now.
That scenario.
How messed up is the world? We're going to declare you dead, stop your income, and then charge you more money in taxes.
What is the problem?
Where is Robin Hood? Yeah, on that note, we're going to take a musical break, and when we come back, we'll have some science news for you.
Science. And we're back. We are back for a great segment. I love this segment. Science news.
Sometimes science is exploring the universe.
Right.
And sometimes it's exploring the mundane. For example, scientists have discovered that male mice hate bananas.
What?
Apparently,
what are we going to do with that?
Researchers at McGill University in Montreal, Quebec, have made a discovery by accident. This was not what they were researching.
The next penicillin
discovery. But they discovered that that male mice are in fact scared of bananas.
Weird.
So, apparently.
I thought you meant don't like the taste of banana. They are afraid of banana in the male, not female mice.
No. So they were studying male mice for one thing.
Of course.
Another researcher was studying female mice for a different project.
Yep.
Brought the female mice into the lab for a thing. Reasons. Doesn't matter why.
I don't look too close to what they do with these mice.
While the female mice were in the lab who are pregnant, the pregnant female mice, the male mice started responding in a nervous, upset way. And it was off of this that they began to realize that the female mice, while pregnant, or postnatal, exude a hormone that causes the male mice to be upset, to want to shy away.
Okay.
As a way of protecting, because male mice can...
Me too aggressive.
They commit infanticide as a way of being male dominant over the females.
Okay.
To have the females to themselves, which is disturbing in a whole another way. But anyway,
started on stats of pregnant women getting harmed. But okay.
So they identified this hormone.
Yeah.
And then they looked to see, they wanted to determine if in fact it was the hormone, or if maybe they were
reasons.
There were other reasons. This is just a coincidence that this hormone was present at that time.
Co-occurring.
So they found other instances of the hormone in nature, and they found it in bananas.
Of course they did.
So
because this world is beautiful and weird.
And so they put the bananas in with the male mice.
Yeah. And
the male mice acted in the same nervous, agitated manner because of the presence of the same hormone.
Wow.
And so apparently male mice are scared of bananas. is therefore.
And therefore, and in conclusion, thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
McGill University brings us male mice.
Wow, that is a thing that is a factoid in my head now.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
And this is what,
I'm going to shake a banana
know,
at Mickey Mouse.
Where science is going to lead you.
But I'm glad it does.
In other rodent-related news, so there's this story. So we've talked before about CRISPR technology.
Love it.
Where they edit
genes.
CRISPR, of course, being an acronym. That for this technology they use to actually edit the genes of a living or organism at the genetic level, obviously. So at the University of Georgia, they took some hamsters and they eliminated a neurochemical signaling pathway that plays a critical role in group behavior.
Okay.
In mammals. And the idea was that they were going to make them more passive. It did not work out that way. Instead, they turned into these raging aggression monsters.
So, exactly like the Reavers.
Yes.
In Serenity.
That is exactly what my thought was and where I was going with this. For those of you who are fans of the show Firefly and the movie Serenity that came off of it, that was in fact the plot of the movie, was that they tried to make humans, quote, better by
and literally more passive.
By chemically altering them so they would be more passive. And it did not work.
Not
Instead, either killed them or made them into these hyper-aggressive zombies. And... That's exactly what happened in this.
So if anyone had Serenity in their dystopian bingo, just go ahead and check that off, because we've hit them all.
One after
Terminator,
another. They just keep
Mad
on
Max,
doing these things.
I'm pretty sure we checked off Blade Runner. All of them.
Yeah. The robots are definitely getting more advanced.
The good movies, the bad movies. Yeah.
We
just keep teaching them how to feel pain.
Elon Musk has made... Skynet.
Check. Bingo.
They keep doing it. But anyway, so they actually went ahead and did this.
And got the result.
Yeah.
That
in the exact...
makes sense.
Because
of homeostasis. Like, we as an organism, we fight to get back to what this body thinks is the normal level.
And just think about the ethics of it in the first place. Like, even if this had gone the way they hoped...
Science was worried about, can we? We never asked, should we?
But, I mean, if this had gone the way they hoped...
Yeah.
And they had been able to make people more passive...
Oh, then, they own us.
What are they going to do with that? That's a weapon,
what good
right?
thing, right.
That's a weapon.
Yeah. Take the fight out of us.
I can't imagine that now that they figured out a way to make people hyper-aggressive... that they're just going to put that in a box and stick it away in a drawer and be like, oh, we're done. Who had
every super soldier movie gone wrong on their bingo card? In 34? In 34. Good going. Well, they can fight these super aggressive AI that they have programmed to feel pain.
Not only did it end up ramping up the male aggression, but the females, who apparently among hamsters are very docile, it turned them just as aggressive as their male counterparts.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
There's no winning. There's no leveling it out.
The lead scientist, Albers, called, quote, startling.
Just to you, dude. Just to you. Everybody else classified that as saw it coming? Where is saw it coming on the checkbox? Okay, well, that's the game we're playing now. With the rest of the time we're on this planet before it boils and Homo sapiens can't live here anymore. It's not if we'll, cause our own end, but which one of these things will do it first?
Yeah, and they're still talking about it like
in my cornflake.
Like the way it went is just generate some funny headlines and how incredible this tool is that was so precise that it was able to do this one thing. It's just a terrifying outcome, I think.
Yep.
The fact that they're
just sprinkling
not only able to do it, but thinking of doing it.
Yeah.
This is not a good direction. But, that's not going to stop anything.
Not a bit.
If the bad direction is definitely a direction to go. In more positive science news.
Thank you.
More uplifting science news.
Are there more rodents in this one?
No. This is taking place in space. Solar sails... I think most of us are familiar with the concept. It basically looks like a sail, but made of a different. And the idea is that it's going to
soak up rays
of light from the sun, or energy really from the sun, and use it to propel a ship through space.
Awesome.
So
and look sexy while doing it.
NASA is developing a new solar sail concept, a variation on the theme.
Okay.
That they expect to be more compact and powerful, both more compact and more powerful.
That's my goal for the upcoming years.
To be more compact and powerful?
Yep.
All right.
Stay tuned, listeners.
I believe you'll be more powerful. So the diffracting.
I gotta get an alibi for the murder I'm going to commit.
So it is called the Diffractive Solar Sailing Project. It is it is going into phase 3 study. So it's gone advanced to phase 3. I'm not
so
sure.
there was a phase 1 and a phase 2.
Phase 2, yes, that's what I know
I
now.
follow. Okay.
I don't know how many phases there are, but I do know it has successfully passed phase 1 and 2, so that's got to be good news, right? Under the NASA Innovative Advanced Concepts Program, the NIAC. So existing solar sail designs are very large and very thin, and limited by the direction of the sun's energy, sun's light, right? So a diffractive light sail takes small gratings embedded in thin film to take advantage of a property of light called diffraction. So you know how light hits a prism?
Yep.
And then you see the classic image of light hitting through a prism and then splitting apart into the beam, into the various colors. That's called diffraction, that process of going from one color to all the colors. So diffractive light sail would use that bending of the light, that spreading of the light that occurs.
That hasn't disappeared, it's spread.
Right. So the light hits it as a narrow beam, gets diffracted, spread out, and therefore is covering a larger surface. And so it goes from a narrow to a large, and it's taking advantage of that diffraction to increase the force or the spread of it across a sail area.
Like it. Genius.
So it's going to cross through a narrow opening, spread out, and makes more efficient use without sacrificing maneuverability. And because they're on these tiny grates, the grates can be adjusted.
Maneuverability.
The grates can be adjusted, and you can have a smaller grate getting more power out of the same amount of light.
More power to move and more maneuverability.
Right, so which gives them greater distance. And of course, obviously, a solar sail means you don't have to have the weight of fuel on board the ship as it's trying to travel back and forth, which provides many obvious, numerous advantages.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is a great step forward
That's
as we
cool.
venture amongst the stars, as we like to do.
So they're going to start performing ground tests in phase 3, optimize the sail material, they'll start doing orbits.
That is very, very cool.
It is cool. Now, back here on Earth,
that's where I live.
How your brain works is a mystery. It comes up with all these...
You have no idea.
And how people come up with all these brilliant ideas, right? And you're thinking, and you're something around, whether you're trying to figure out how to make a solar sail or just to get your list of to-do things done during the day.
How many scoops of coffee did I put in the coffee maker?
Right, and as you're thinking through these things, you'll have discussions with yourself.
Sure do.
Either out loud or silently.
I'm so critical.
The Psychology and Neurocognition Laboratory at CNRS, which is a National French Research Institute, we're studying how your brain operates when you're having this discussion with yourself.
Interesting.
Right? Silently. Or when you're a kid, you'll play out everything like a toy truck and a stuffed animal. They'll be talking to each other, and you verbalize all this. And certain aspects of your brain will light up while you're doing this. A different part will light up for the toy truck speaking than for your own voice speaking.
Got it.
Right?
The me and not me.
Exactly. And apparently, that's still when you're 30 years old and you're having a silent conversation in your head about whether or not you should wear this shirt. That still happens in your brain. You're talking to yourself, and then that devil on your shoulder, being like, no, you are too fat to wear that shirt. Those are two different voices. Two different parts of your brain light up as you're doing that.
That is the most interesting thing to come out of France, is the baguette. That's so cool.
And it is very similar to with verbalized speech. The thing that you do, if you have a conversation with yourself out loud, playing two different roles, whether because you're acting on a stage or just having a conversation with yourself at home.
For other reasons. Looking at you, schizophrenics.
Or you're doing this internal dialogue entirely silent. It's the same. It's a very similar reaction in the brain as you're doing me and not me.
Love it.
In the conversation.
Brain doesn't know or care.
Yeah, it's really...
You are having a conversation. Yeah, I love it. Oh, let's fund more of that study, finding more details about that. That is so interesting.
When you play yourself, the auditory centers on the left side, I do have more about that study for you here. When you play yourself, the auditory centers on the left side of your brain activate, but when you internally switch roles to play the person you're arguing with, talking with, there's a sort of shift of cerebral regional activity to the right hemisphere.
Makes perfect sense.
That's a quote.
From the more left logical side of the brain to the more right, artistic, creative side of the brain. So it makes sense that the creative side of the brain is creating this second person to speak with. I mean, like it.
It is. It's fascinating.
Both people in my brain like it.
Researchers have apparently also found this when people are asked to imagine movement. Like if a dancer is asked to imagine themselves dancing versus their partner who would be dancing with them.
Wow, yeah.
Or just any other person dancing. A similar thing happens with one side of the brain versus the other. Now, apparently, letting your
references from this body moving, and your right creative side is imagining another person moving.
Yeah. Now, the phenomenon of when like a word will just pop into your head randomly, or
sure does,
or you're daydreaming and your mind just wanders off. These are this is different phenomenon entirely.
Pure imagination.
And they do not have an understanding of that. How that's operating in the brain.
That tracks. Still don't know what's happening with
they think it has something to do with, and this is a term I've never heard before, the brain's, quote, default mode network, DMN. This is according to a neuroscience at the University of Oregon, Robert Chavez.
Like your BIOS?
Apparently the DMN is a network of areas in the brain that are active when it is not engaged in a specific task. It is thought to be involved with aspects of internal thought, such as retrieving memories, imagining the future, interoception. A sense of feeling of what's happening in your body, hunger or thirst, that's apparently called interoception.
Sure. Coming soon.
Yes.
The new Nolan movie.
So like when your mind is wandering, apparently that's when your default mode network is operating.
That's awesome. What's your brain telling you now?
That it's time to go. This is the end of the show.
Wow, conversation.
It's been Stupid Science.
It's been stupid, and it's been science.
It's Stupid Science with JD and Lisa.
I learned so much about mice and bananas.
So we will see you next month, or hear you. You'll hear us. You'll hear us next month. I think that's how it works, actually.
Don't show up at the studio. Yeah. You'll hear us.
Coming to you from Key West, I'm Lord Jeffrey Adler.
And I'm Lady Lisa Booker.
And this has been Stupid Science.
Here you go. Stupid Science. Stupid Science.
Science. Pew, pew, pew.